Hello and welcome to the Slate Culture Gabfest Summer Strut 2025 edition. It's Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. On today's show, no topics, no script, no nothing, just the redoubtable Chris Malamphy. Chris, welcome in.
Thank you, Steve, and hello everyone out there.
Yeah, and Chris, of course, is the host of the Hit Parade podcast for Slate. He's once described himself as a chartologist, and it's stuck, but he's so much more than that. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Of course, Dana Stevens is the film critic for Slate. Hey, Dana.
Hey.
You know, the joke landed because I didn't think you were an actual lush, but I'm looking at the accoutrements for today's show. What do we have?
Well, we're taping at 11:30, a little later than we usually tape. It's a celebratory once-a-year thing.
5 p.m. somewhere.
So I brought in mimosa makins, a bottle of champagne and some orange juice.
Okay. Well, this is an audio-based show we're working on. Do you want to, uncork here? Or?
Yeah, I thought we could hear a little sonic background of some crinkling foil as the golden foil leaves the champagne cork.
Are we ready? Steady.
Ooh. Yeah, that was a very satisfying
That was for
pop.
real.
Full-on ceiling bounce.
It literally hit the ceiling.
As Chris
No
and Dana
exaggeration.
are my witnesses, I did not, shake the bottle.
He
nothing.
really didn't.
And Julia Turner is joining us from California. She is a fellow at the Annenberg Center for Journalism at the University of Southern California. Hey, Julia.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. There's nothing better than watching people drink mimosas through a Zoom screen. I'm still on iced coffee over here. I'll have to mimosa later.
Julia, I'm going to throw to you because you are the genesis of this whole concept of Summer Strut. Talk to us about its history.
Yes, this is our vital accidental tradition. I think 15 or so years ago, I had a new commute to work that was walking, and I asked our listeners to send me new music I could strut to work to through the streets of Lower Manhattan. And they responded in droves, and thus began our annual tradition of asking you all for great songs, listening to them, and then gathering to share which ones we loved. So I think this is our 4,700th annual strut, and I'm very excited to strut with you all.
Every year we get more and more songs, right? It's like an embarrassment of riches with 700-800 this year to listen to, and we always end up with this, the sweet meat kernel of all of that listening, our combined 3 or 4 lists. All right, we're going to take a mimosa break. We'll be back in a sec.
Your backyard barbecue has some new RSVPs. Just tap Target. With the grill raring to go, your personal shopper is tackling your same-day delivery order at Target.
Babe, so Bob and Lynn are bringing the kids after all.
Pro tip, you can change your same-day order with a quick text to your shopper.
I'll have her add popsicles. Ooh, and some sidewalk chalk.
Your shopper texts a thumbs up. You text 5 exclamation points and life is good. Text with a personal shopper and get it all delivered ASAP. Just tap Target.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
First, typically, Chris, what we do is we talk about the song of the summer, right? And, usually there are 1 or 2 contenders. Maybe, in a good summer, you've got Ollie Frazier and, whatever. This summer, it's kind of a little more hazy, if I understand it.
Oh, God, it's hazy. And can you hear the heavy sigh in my voice? It's boring. And the tragedy of this is that 2024 was a fantastic pop year and a great summer songs competition. For those of you who will think back just 1 year ago, were we ever that young? We had everything from Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter to Shabuzi's A Bar Song Tipsy to Morgan Wallen and Post Malone's I Had Some Help. And there were lots of great second tier contenders. It was a great competition a year ago. there are two problems with this year's Song of Summer competition. One is that some of the songs that were competing last year are still on the damn chart. There's been even some press coverage. There was a Wall Street Journal article about this just a few days ago about how clogged the current top 10 is with songs that date back to 2024 and even 2023. There's a song that just a few weeks ago set the record for most weeks on the Hot 100 in history, Lose Control by Teddy Swims. Dates back to 2023, went to number one in April of 2024, and is still in the goddamn top 10 after more than 100 weeks on the Hot 100. A bar song, Tipsy, Love It Though I Do, is still clogging the top 10. Benson Boone's Beautiful Things is still hovering in the top 10, sometimes the top 20. So all these really old-ass songs are clogging up the top 10. That's problem number one. And problem number two is that there is actually a very clear victor for Song of the Summer. It's just kind of a snooze of a song. I wrote about it back in June. It's a mid-tempo ballad by Alex Warren. This is his first major hit. Alex Warren, he is a guy who broke via social media and a content house called the Hype House. And he basically content farmed his way to pop stardom. This song is pleasant, pablum that, sounded fine during wedding season, but has now been number one for 8 weeks and is clearly the Song of the Summer winner. And about its only advantage is that it is current. It is a 2025 song that went to number one in 2025.
I take one look at you, you're taking me out of the ordinary. I want you laying me down till we're dead and buried on the edge of your knife.
I mean, I don't hate it. I could imagine having like real feelings in the deodorant aisle of a CVS to that.
That is exactly right. Yes, it is a CVS deodorant aisle song. I think that's correct.
Well, you have to spend like 3 hours there now because all the deodorant's locked up. So you might as well have a good soundtrack.
The thing you're longing for is not your lost loved one, but just for somebody to hand you a little thing of secret.
Pretty much. So yeah, that is CVS Core to the max, and it's been number one for 2 months. And then probably the closest thing to a competitor to it is, I have to say his name again, Morgan Wallen, who put out his new album, I'm the Problem, back in the spring and has been dominating the charts ever since. He's had multiple songs in the top 10, but the biggest one is a duet with Tate McRae, the Canadian, let's call her dancer turned singer, who broke via So You Think You Can Dance a decade ago and is now a fairly major pop star. They went to number one briefly just before Alex Warren went to number one with a song called What I Want, which is not all that different from Ordinary in that it is kind of a mid-tempo love ballad.
If this is how it is, then she kiss me again and say you don't want this heart, but it's already broke. Tell me everything she touched just goes up in smoke.
I think we talked about that when we discussed the Morgan Wallen album a couple months ago. And I feel like I'm poised to be a big Tate McRae fan. And I was surprised, actually. We didn't really have much Tate McRae on our list this year. And the ones that we had didn't pop for me. That song's fine, but I'm like a reluctant admirer of Morgan Wallen and a potential fan of Tate McRae. And that song seems still just kind of meh to me.
Yeah, I think everybody's waiting for Tate McRae to do a truly good/great pop song. She's very, game and lithe. Her videos are fun to watch because she does amazing dance moves. She had a pretty big hit in early 2024 called Greedy, which was quite catchy in a, Britney Spears 25 years ago sort of way. But I have yet to hear a Tate McRae song that's really knocked me out. And I sort of feel like she even had a number one album about 4 or 5 months ago. So she's popular enough, but she hasn't had like sort of a true classic. The way when Sabrina Carpenter finally broke last year, she had multiple hits and they were all really great. She hasn't had one of those yet.
Chris, I have a question related to your first point about how songs are staying on the list, on the charts for so much longer. Is there some sort of sociological, technological explanation for that?
Or is it a gaming by the powers that be because the digital numbers can be manipulated in ways maybe sales couldn't have been?
I don't think I'm often one to talk about fan bases that game the charts. I don't think this is a gamesmanship thing. I think it's a stagnation problem. One of the theories that's been proffered is, and this was talked about briefly in that Wall Street Journal piece, was that as streaming kind of hits maturity, there are now so many, millions of people piling into streaming that when a song takes hold and is on everybody's playlist, there's a snowball effect and songs just sit stone for longer and longer periods. I mean, we've discovered this ever since the charts got digitized 20 years ago, first with iTunes and downloads and now with streams. It turns out that when we latch onto a song, it lasts longer and longer. The record for most weeks in the history of the Hot 100 has been reset multiple times. And what we're experiencing this year is kind of a malaise crossed with technology. I even joked when we were talking about this Song of Summer that we were planning to talk about that, I blame Trump. And I don't literally mean I blame Trump for this, but there's kind of a people clinging to comfort food this year in particular. Because 1 year ago, again, 2024, the technology was not much different. The audience for streaming was not much different, but we had a phenomenal selection of songs. And that's not, to Joe Biden's credit, nor is this year Donald Trump's fault. But I would say that people seem to be clinging to what they know this year more than ever. There are even a couple of songs that made the Strut list this year that could have been bigger hits that I wish had hung on.
It's so interesting, Chris, because one of the things I love about Strut is that it puts new music and old music and weird music and popular music on equal footing. And it's really fun to listen to this gigantic list of like totally unprioritized, unhierarchized songs. And I get that if we all like listening to old music more, it messes up the chart game. But it also seems kind of more honest to how people actually listen to music. So I don't know. I feel like maybe the abandonment of the new, we don't have to lament, and is a good segue into our crate diving for the list this year.
Agree. So why don't you kick it off? Give us a cut? What's at the top of your list?
Me go first? Yeah. Oh my
you go first.
Okay. You invented the concept.
All right. The song that's really that I can't stop humming this morning is Sally When the Wine Runs Out by Role Model.
Just trying to keep it alive, crying out loud. Sally, that feeling's coming around. Please don't go falling in love and disappear when the wine runs out. Sally.
Oh yeah, I've been. All I can tell you, Julia, is wholehearted approval in the room. I think Dana and I are like definitely grooving, and Melanthi's a bit of a sphinx when it comes to he grooves inside. But
no, I'm bopping along. Trust me.
Backgrounder on this, I somehow missed this in the list.
You're the only one who missed it. This was on both Dana's list, Dana's short list, and on Julia's short list.
Well, I was actually going to jump out of this first thing and say, damn you, Julia, this was going to literally be my first pick because I wanted to be the person who got to say it. And I think of all the songs on my 12-song short list that I sent to Chris, this is the one that has caused the most grooving in my household,
Nice.
that I've done the most research on just because I can't get it out of my head, and that I have the most to say about. So thanks a lot for taking it
Go
away.
ahead, dive in.
That feeling's coming around. Please don't go falling in love.
So, yeah, Chris, I think, can speak more to the singer who goes by the name Role Model, but who has such a great real name that I sort of wish he performed under it.
It's an awesome real name. It's Tucker Pillsbury.
Tucker Harrington Pillsbury.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I think that's his real name.
it's like a PG Woodhouse character or something, right? There's something so adorable about that name.
I met Tucker Pillsbury down at the club.
But Tucker Harrington Pillsbury, a.k.a. Role Model, is not actually a Brit or a peanut with a monocle, as it sounds like he would be.
He's from Maine.
He's a kid from Maine, and he started out as a rapper.
Yes.
And he's switched to this name when he stopped rapping, Role Model, and now I think mainly sings rather than rap. So there's a little bit of sort of quasi-rap in this song. And I don't know, Julia, if in your listening to this song you ever happened upon the video, but the video is so excellent and has such a great fandom on YouTube. Like, people are absolutely crazy about it. So the concept of the Sally When the Wine Runs Out video is not to enact the song. It's not, him and a girl who drinks too much and him reasoning with her, like one of those very literal videos. It's Role model in an airport by himself, listening to an iPod, not an iPhone, but an old-fashioned iPod with wired earbuds, and dancing to his own song. But clearly, this video was filmed for no budget whatsoever in a real airport with real onlookers who had no idea what was going on. And so most of the video is this very awkward, dorky dance moves on the part of role model, deliberately trying to make all of these strangers in the airport confused and uncomfortable as to why he's boogieing around.
Wow.
I highly recommend it. The song is so catchy and the video is so endearing that now I'm so down for whatever role model does next.
Well, one thing that role model is doing next is he's been cast in Lena Dunham's next film as a love interest.
Really? I did not catch that fact. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a winsome personality. I can totally see how he would work in a Lena Dunham project. That makes total sense.
And she's such a eye for, I feel like discovering Adam Driver or platforming Adam Driver or whatever the verb is we want to use there. Like her eye for talent is so remarkable.
Keen.
Yeah. And I first heard role model's name when I saw the casting announcement and was like, who the hell is that? And then when I saw the name on the list here, I was like, well, let's see what that music is anyway. And then I was like, holy shit, this song is incredible. I mean, what I love about it is that it sounds full and confident, like there's a lot of songs on here, including some I plan to recommend today, where you can hear an artist like at the beginning of a journey, or you can hear youth in it. And this person is clearly very young and talented and at the beginning of a journey, but the sound is just like, you could imagine that this was like the B-side off of the 7th album of like an act that is selling out stadiums. Like it just feels so fully itself.
Pillsbury, you've got pluck.
Pluck, I say.
Pluck, I say. And then you poke him in the belly and he makes that little noise.
I think I see now why he changed his name to role model. He didn't want to be endlessly mocked for his adorable name.
This song is a fairly current hit. It's a 2025 song. It's on the bonus edition of his second album, Kansas Anymore. He released a deluxe edition of that and added this song. And it seems to be a bigger hit than anything he's had before. It's currently in the Pop Airplay Top 40, which means it could be a Hot 100 hit imminently. And it's giving me Noah Kahan vibes, if you know who that is, the guy who had a hit with Stick Season a year or two ago, where it's kind of like folky and just a little country, but not really country and mostly pure pop. And yeah, I don't know. It's when it gets to that chorus that it really takes off.
Yeah, Chris, what I admire so much about the song is its construction. And this is something I'm sure I'll get to in some of my other picks later on. But I really just can't resist a well-constructed pop song that has 3 parts, a verse, a chorus, and a bridge that are all catchy and memorable. And I know that style of construction is not necessarily dominant right now. And there's a lot of songs, including some that I really like on this list. But I feel like contemporary pop tends to have more of a sort of consistent drone throughout. And I'm thinking of someone that Steve likes better than I do, although I don't dislike her music, which is Lana Del Rey. And her songs sort of have this, dreamy formlessness to them, which I think is a certain style right now. And I kind of appreciate that this really harks back to just like verse, chorus, verse, bridge, another chorus, and it's over.
Yeah. No, it's a beautifully structured song. And I mean, you've seen that kind of songwriting start to come back. I would say Sabrina Carpenter does those kinds of songs. This complements that approach, but it's unique, even among current pop songs. So yeah, I really like it a lot.
All right, Chris, my first song is Let Love Flow On by the, I think, somewhat mysterious Sonia Spence, but I'll let you fill me in on that, but let's listen.
Holding and touching, honey, let's get it on and make a pretty baby that isn't wrong. Let's do the things together only lovers do. Let love flow on, baby. Let's do the things together.
I want to hear all about Sonia Spence, but what gets me about that cut is her voice. There's some quality to her singing, which is really, really, there's a gentleness and a power to it at the same time. It's really, she is a gorgeous, gorgeous singer. And so I thought I'd kick off with it.
You know, Steve, you have a skill. This happened last year or maybe the year before of picking out songs on the list by artists who are sort of shrouded in mystery. I think there was, one year where you picked a song where the group barely existed.
Yes, So Grun or whatever.
Yeah, now, okay, this woman very clearly existed, but she has, there's literally a blog post I turned up whose headline is "A Woman Clouded in Mystery." And that's Sonia Spence. She's Jamaican. This much is known about her. She is a moonlighting Jamaican school teacher who recorded some gentle reggae and island-flavored soul. She died at age 54. This song's from 1981, I think, best as I can tell from the information I turned up. And it's kind of a Crate Digger special. It's been oft sampled by club and house DJs, and it's kind of like a sultry strut. But I think what you're keying into is that she is of Jamaica and sings some reggae, but this is not really a reggae song. It certainly doesn't have a reggae beat. It's kind of like, for 1981, contempo R&B. And so sort of the very pleasant friction of her accent and her intonation on the vocal with this brassy, lightly brassy and breezy R&B arrangement. It's very infectious and
it's a bewitching.
Bewitching. That's a great word
bewitching
for
song.
it. Yeah, I agree.
Steve, that one was on my first cut list, and I think we're going to probably share a few on that. And honestly, the reason I didn't take it to the final cut list is that I felt like listeners know that I'm a sucker for old school soul, and if I always pick the old school soul song, I'm just going to be boring and predictable. But that is such a beautiful one.
It's got a bit of a hammock. It makes you feel like a breeze blowing past. Like it's so cool, and yeah, that's a really neat one.
It's amphibious, right? You could strut down the street to it or sway in a hammock to it, I think.
That makes it amphibious or ambiguous?
No, I like amphibious used somewhat metaphorically. I don't know.
You can feel the air and you're like, yes, water.
I think this is
it has gills.
This is the jet lag. Julia, settle down. All right. Chris, I think we're to you. Batting cleanup.
I want to mention this song because I think it won the tally we did of most requested by Strut listeners. And that is a current single by Haim from their new album. It's the song Relationships.
Chris, thank you so much. We did that record as a segment for the Gabfest, so I felt, and maybe Dana felt too, it was sort of off limits a little bit. But I love that record. It just grows and grows and grows on you, and I love that cut in particular. I'm so glad you picked it.
Yeah, and we call the tradition strut, and it's very strutty. It's this crunching, sweltering banger. It's got heavy personnel. You can tell they wanted this to be the single. It was the lead single of their new album, I Quit. So they worked with some journeyman people on this. Tobias Jesso Jr., who's co-written songs for folks like Adele and Harry Styles. Ariel Reichstad, who they've worked with him before. He's worked with everyone from Vampire Weekend to Usher. What I love about the new album, I Quit, is that it's thematic. Basically, all three Haim sisters were out of relationships. They'd all broken up with boyfriends at various times. And the prime lyric on that song is, I can't stand fucking relationships. The Haim sisters are basically, getting over, their good-for-nothing boyfriend's bullshit. The cover art for the single even replicates a famous Nicole Kidman photo that perhaps apocryphally was taken after she broke up with Tom Cruise, more than 20 years ago. So it's very thematic, the album and the single, and the song just bangs. So that's why I'm talking about it.
Totally with you.
I was actually walking into a summer barbecue last weekend, and this was the first song I heard playing, and it does really fit. It's very hammock. It's very sipping something cool in the sunshine.
Hammock or street. Like it has enough of a drive that you can really strut down the street to it.
Amphibious, if you will.
You might call it amphibious.
I was mildly disappointed that no one submitted Down to Be Wrong, which is my vote for the struttiest song on that album, but I will stipulate that Haim has a permanent position on Summer Strut.
Dana, what do you got? I hope maybe you can gazump Julia now. What goes around?
I wonder. That's what's so great about not knowing other people's shortlists, right? Okay, well, since we've already talked about the hammock song, which is one of our longstanding subcategories of the summer strut song, right? The thing that you swing gently to while you sip your lemonade. We should do our first mascara song, which is the song that you listen to while getting ready for a night out with your people. So my first, and I think maybe my only mascara song choice this year is Too Slow by Maud Latour. Let's listen to a little bit.
Samantha got in the fucking car. too slow, too slow, too slow. Oh, oh, you're living too slow. I'm gonna live forever, but I guess you never know. I took a shot from the fountain of youth, but baby, if you're not drinking with me, I'll have nothing to do. Okay.
So this is such a literal mascara song. Like if you watch the video, it is actually Maude Latour and her actual high school friends riding around in a convertible and putting on their makeup as they drive. and
on the nose, Dan.
And the lyric is very sort of existential desperation. Like you're living too slow. We're gonna live forever, but I guess you never know. There's this kind of idea that these girls are living on the edge in their mid-20s and denying their mortality. And there's nothing more romantic and summery than that. Chris, you can tell us more about Maude Latour, but I know she had a sort of international childhood, right, living all around the world, but she went to high school in New York. I found out while listening to this, because my daughter came in the room and said, "You're listening to Maude Latour," that she had the same voice teacher that my daughter had in high school.
Really?
So, yeah. So I guess that voice teacher is launching stars. And she's in her mid-20s. I don't know that much else about her, but this song is just such a banger.
It's a total banger. The word I would use to describe it, and I mean this as partially a pun, is bratty. Bratty in attitude in the best sense, and post-brat as in Charlie XCX. It's got that EDM-ish kind of strut, brash. It's from her 2024 LP Sugar Water, which came out not long after Charlie XCX put out Brat. By the way, she's something of a Nepo baby because her dad is Almar Latour, who's the publisher of the Wall Street Journal and the CEO of Dow Jones.
Oh, my Lord.
Wow. And her background is very international. He's Dutch. Her mom is Swedish. And yeah, she grew up all over the place, went to school in New York. And she's kind of bringing that.
Has a philosophy degree, which I want Steve to be sure he heard.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because her album Sugar Water is named for a fable written by Leo Tolstoy. She went to Brearley in Columbia, and apparently at Columbia, she read this Leo Tolstoy fable that made her want to name her album Sugar Water. So I can't go into all the minutiae of that, but it's fascinating. And yeah, it's sugary, it's bratty, it's mascara to the max. I really like that a lot.
It's so funny. I think she was on my long list last year for a song called Lola, which is also great. And I was excited to see her on this big list too. I like the song as well.
Well, just as the Summer Strut list gets into our listeners' hands, summer is starting to wind down, but it's not too late to refresh your warm weather wardrobe with staple pieces for the season. And an easy and fun place to look for those essentials is Quince. As always, Steve, when you're in studio when we talk about Quince, I turn to you and I ask you, can you please promote to our listeners one of your many, apparently countless, like when Steve opens his closet, it's just like a Quince commercial.
This is like the easiest 30 seconds in my day is going on about these guys. So, for example, I got the European linen pant, which is like a perfect sort of, it could be a pajama, it can be a beach pant, it can be...
Drawstring?
Yeah, it can be worn out. But I just noticed, because I was trying to get the precise name of it, I have yet to buy their 100% European linen dress pant in black. I may have to order it and have it sent to my friends in California who I'm going to visit tomorrow, because I want it, and I want it now. Anyway, I love it. Quince makes great stuff. I just love their stuff.
Man, that company must be so happy that they have such a sincere endorser over here in Steve Metcalf. So you too, like Steve, can elevate your fall wardrobe essentials with Quince. Go to quince.com/culture for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/culture to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/culture.
Julia, what's your next offering here?
I'm going to pick a song I loved from an artist who's maybe bigger than we usually talk about on Strut, but I loved Nueva York by Bad Bunny. I mean, obviously Bad Bunny is a megastar and has been for a while, and I've heard songs and admired them. And I think this one actually crept into my playlists even before it showed up on our Strut this year. Like I heard it by accident. It was like, what is that? I need to add it to my regular listening. And then it was a little familiar when it came up on this list. The combination of taking kind of, I don't know, the classic sounds you'd hear if you just went out dancing in New York.
Salsa, basically.
Yeah, with the spin that he's putting on it is, it just works so well for me. I love this song.
I love it too. It's the lead track from Bunny's latest album, which came out back in, I think, January, February, called Debí tirar más fotos. I should have taken more photos. It's a huge hit album. It topped the charts. It's been, jammed in the top 10 all year. What's interesting is that it changes tempos multiple times. It begins with a sample of a classic sort of, New York salsa record, Boricua jam by El Gran Combo called Un Verano en Nueva York. But that only lasts about 20 seconds before it shifts into Dominican dembo rhythm. There's even another shift toward the end of the record that's closer to Latin trap. And I had to kind of look this up because I've heard this song several times, but I hadn't really studied the lyrics. On it, Benito, Bad Bunny, is reflecting on sort of his vision for the struggle for Puerto Rican identity and the fact that he called it Nueva York, which is kind of Nueva York. It's basically, a Boricua nickname for New York. He's talking about sort of the global identity of Puerto Rico and yet the kind of rootlessness of Puerto Rico at the same time. And by the way, it was a big ass hit. It went top 10 on the pop charts. It went number 1 on the Latin charts. I was just jamming to it in my seat while we were playing it. It's great.
All right. Well, a couple of tie-ins to my next cut. It definitely is not original or new. It was new to me. I couldn't stop listening to it, and then I just had to include it. I would categorize this as a running mascara song. This is after shit's gone wrong. Cut. It has just an epic aura of female rage to it. Messy by Lola Young.
You know I'm impatient, so why would you leave me waiting outside the station when it was like -4 degrees? And I get what you're saying. I just really don't want to hear it right now. Can you shut up for like once in your life? Listen to me. I took your nice words of advice about how you think I'm gonna die lucky if I turn 33. Okay, so yeah, I smoke like a chimney. I'm not skinny and I pull a Britney every other week. But cut me some slack. Who do you want me to be?
So I thought it was funny earlier talking about like classic song structure. You really listen to the song. At first, it has the aura of something like really contempo, and then you listen to it, it's a rock song. It's just you hear a snare drum, a backbeat, and there's like a kind of delicately applied electric guitar that has a haunting quality to it. And she's singing her guts out. It's a total like verse, chorus, bridge banger. And I included it only because I overwhelmingly loved this song as a song, and her performance of it is epic.
And don't say hello, 'cause I got high again and forgot to fold my clothes. 'Cause I'm too messy and then I'm too fucking clean.
A lot of people love this song, and it's kind of been a discovery for a lot of people this year. This was a hit, a big ass hit, in the winter spring of this year. And I love that you mentioned that it's fundamentally a rock song. It topped the alternative rock chart. It's uncategorizable. I mean, it's got elements of R&B in it. Young herself says it's a bit rocky. It's got a 90s hip hop influence. It's got folk music, lyricism, and some pop too. That's how she describes it herself. I had to write that quote down because I thought that was so apt. And the lyrics are very gritty. Lola doesn't hide her British accent. And yeah, it's just soul bearing. I mean, it's very cathartic and empathetic. That's what I love about it.
Am I the only one who knows this song from TikTok? Like, I feel like the I'm Too Messy bit became like a TikTok sound. And so I had a funny thing where I liked it when it came up, but I was like, I can't tell if I actually like this or my brain's just been colonized by TikTok. I mean, I knew I liked it, but I almost had a hard time hearing the whole song because I was like so primed to wait for the juicy little part that's been TikTokized. I felt like I was slightly ruined for it.
This was my kids' reaction to the song. Like to them, it's a TikTok song, and they categorize it thus.
It was on my short list too, Chris. I've now overlapped with two of you. But yeah, this is absolutely great and got me so into Lola Young and started reading about her kind of history and her rise in recent years. And it turns out her management, who reached out to her when they started hearing her music, are the same people who managed Amy Winehouse and Adele, which makes so much sense, you know, and that sort of British R&B singer.
That British R&B singer tradition. Yeah, she's kind of the lineage of that. She could be the next Amy Winehouse.
I loved,
hopefully without the dark side of being the next Amy Winehouse.
I loved another song by her on the list called One Thing, which it didn't make my recommend list because it's honestly so dirty that I feel embarrassed recommending it, which will send you all right to it. Given all the songs I've recommended over the years, maybe that's a shocking admission, but I feel like there were several Lola Young tracks on here which left me feeling like, oh, this woman is the real deal. TikTok or no TikTok, like they're all really interesting. And One Thing starts with like an extremely explicit intro and then a just absolutely banging chorus. So I'd send you to check that one out if you like messy.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
Only because I brought up songs that I wish had been bigger and been more of a part of the Song of Summer conversation. Can we play The Giver by Chapel Roan?
'Cause you ain't gotta tell me, it's just in my nature, so take it like a taker. 'Cause baby, I'm a giver, ain't no need to hurry. 'Cause baby, I deliver, ain't no country boy quitter. I get the job done, I get the job done.
You know, this kind of gobsmacked everybody when it made its debut on Saturday Night Live last fall when Chapel Roan was the musical guest. She played it and debuted it live on the show. And people were all hankering for it and saying, oh my God, is Chapel going country? I mean, it's basically a country pop song. She finally, I wish she had had it ready to go last November because she then released it, I want to say around February or March, and it made a massive debut in the top 5 on the Hot 100, but was off the chart in like 8 weeks. Partially that's because Chapel is kind of so hot right now that one of her much older songs, Pink Pony Club, made a belated arrival in the top 10 over the winter and is, by the way, still hanging around the top 10 or the top 20. So that became such a big hit that it kind of eliminated the Chapel Roan spot on the charts such that The Giver didn't last all that long. But I just think this is an interesting direction. Everybody's waiting to see what Chapel Roan is going to do next because she became one of 2024's biggest artists with an album she actually recorded years earlier and released in 2023. And whatever she drops next is going to be utterly massive. But it's anybody's guess what the sound of that record is going to be, and which is one of the things I think is most exciting about Chapel Roan. It's impossible to pigeonhole her, and I really love that record. And I really wish it had lasted into the summer because I think it would have been a great song of summer.
Can I insert a brief story about Pink Pony Club?
Yeah.
My daughter is at a phase where she's gotten very into the Disney princesses through no orchestrations of my own, and only wants to listen to Disney songs. And my sons, who drive around with her more than I do, have convinced her that Pink Pony Club is a Disney princess song so that they can listen to it along with Frozen. So I forget which princess they've told her sings it, like maybe Aurora, like in like her alternate reality where like what Rapunzel sings is Pink Pony Club is like, I just love imagining. But anyway, that's the current con we're running on my 4-year-old.
It's a club with pink ponies in it. A Disney princess would be perfectly at home there.
Exactly.
Dana, the Lazy Susan arrives at you.
All right, I'm going to go to the first of several Francophone songs on my list, and that is La Patte by Science Super Crew.
Fun, shifty twisty time signatures there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the rhythm and the lyric of this song. Not all of which I can translate, but I can say that la patte, which literally means the paw, right? Balance ta patte, the thing they keep saying, literally means swing your paw, but idiomatically it would mean something like bust a move, like do a dance move. And I actually consulted with my sister on this, who's a who's a professional translator, interpreter, knows French very well. And she was giving me some idiomatic translations and saying essentially the message of this song is not only get out on the dance floor and dance, which is the message of so many pop songs and disco songs and rap songs throughout history, but specifically, it has to do with the sort of uniqueness of dancing. So it's almost like you might translate it as like step to your own beat, but it's sort of cuter and more idiomatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was desperately trying to figure out what La Pot meant because, like, there's this lyric that goes, dancer, amateur or professional, move your paw on the floor. And I'm like, okay, clearly that's an idiom of some kind. And it's my terrible Google Translate.
She also suggested something like dance like no one is watching, but less corny. You know, I think the idea is sort of like, it doesn't matter if you look like an idiot. I think there's even a lyric in there somewhere about like, it doesn't matter if t'es nul, you know, if you're sort of like a nothing, you know, you still got to get out on the floor and dance.
Okay. I mean, all I know about these guys is that, Scion Super Crew, I think they were formed in the late 90s. They did most of their recording in the aughts. They specialize in these kind of syncopated rhythms and even human beatbox on some of their tracks. I love the timpani sample. I think it's a timpani sample, that deep drum that keeps recurring over and over again and anchors the beat, and those crazed counterpoint vocals that keeps coming up. It's a great flow.
Julia, I think you're up.
All right, I want to go for Mana Takatapui by Jen Clower.
Golden thread above my head, I'm getting out now. Hey, I know I still got a way to go, but I think I see. Aroha, mana takatapui, quero tuiakwe.
Well, I have no memory of what a wonderful song.
Very hammock.
It's really good. It's a hammock, but with a real strut to it. And it's someone has been submitting. I mean, I don't know if it's the same someone. This has been on the long list for a couple years now. And I'm dying to know more about Jen Clower.
She's fascinating. I had to bone up on her background because she's not only Australian, she's part Maori. And this is apparently a couple of albums ago, she started for the first time. Actually, I think it may be this album, 2023's I Am the River Is Me. It's her first album that is in both English and Maori. If you notice, she flitted back and forth in that little piece of music we just listened to. And it's also basically an LGBTQ anthem. The title, very roughly, means something like queer power.
Yeah, and it's probably worth noting Clower identifies as non-binary and uses both she, her, and they, them pronouns per the internet.
Just not to be scurrilous about this, but some backstory. Jen Clower was in a relationship with...
we met her. We met her after
Barnett.
the Melbourne show.
We did?
Holy cow, seriously?
Oh, no, she's wonderful. Yeah, no. She was in a relationship with Courtney Barnett.
Courtney Barnett for
and I think she was
years,
the one who really, because she's a real listener to the show, brokered Courtney Barnett's presence on our show.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think Courtney was very politely pretending to be an avid listener of the Culture Gabfest, but it was really Jen.
That's a nice pull. I remember very well that encounter and that conversation.
And I
would
love
not
her
have remembered
music.
her name.
What's sort of inspiring about Jen Clower's history is that she had a breakthrough fairly late in life. Her birthday is in 1973, and like deep into her 40s, she had started having her biggest albums, and her last 2 or 3 albums have been big on the Australian charts.
They're terrific records.
And she's deep into her career, and it's inspiring, frankly, speaking as a 50-something myself. So yeah,
that's
it's
so
great
cool.
stuff.
I can't believe we met her. That's amazing.
It's so awesome that you picked that out, Julia.
Yeah, great. I love it. Okay, this one is on the list for the simple reason that I heard it, I listened to it again, and then I could not remove it from my ear canal or my neurons for days, and I didn't know it. And it's from that period where I was listening to a lot of music like it. I was surprised I didn't know it. Mr. Davalina by Del, the Funky Homo Sapiens.
This one is fun.
Mr. Dabalina, you thought you could manipulate, you thought you could fool me. Ooh, Mr. Dabalina, teach wizard put me on a stuff and then he schooled me. Friends could be fraudulent, just you wait and see. First he was my money grip, then he stole my honey dip. Mr. Dabalina is a serpent, don't you agree? The little two-timer resembles Aunt Jemima.
It's got soundscapes, it's got some great rapping, it's got some wonderful sampling. But talk to me about Del the Funky Homo Sapien and this cut and why it maybe somewhat disappeared. But
Well, so this is college music for me.
Yeah.
This came out in 1991. When I was in college, I thought of Del the Funky Homo Sapien as kind of an honorary native tongue. If you know the native tongues from that era, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, The Jungle Brothers, early Queen Latifah, except he is not of that crew. That whole crew is East Coast. He is from Oakland. He's from California. He's from the Bay Area. And then he's also a cousin of Ice Cube. And Ice Cube produced that debut album, I Wish My Brother George Was Here. By the way, that's named for a line from a Bugs Bunny cartoon, which is itself a reference to Liberace's catchphrase, I wish my brother George was here. And that song is like this brilliant blend of Parliament Funkadelic, which is obviously the source for a lot of rap in the golden era. The phrase they sing on it, Glory How It Was Stupid, is taken literally from a 1979 Parliament LP. And then the title phrase, Mr. Dabalina, do you know what that sample is?
I do, but
You looked it up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
amazing.
so it's from a weird song from the Monkees. Yes, the Monkees from 1967. It's kind of a proto-rap song that's on the Monkees album Headquarters, where they say Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Dabalina repeatedly throughout the song. And they basically just slowed it down and turned it into a hook for this Del the Funky Homo Sapien song.
Steve, the only reason I didn't put this on my short list is I talked about this rule last week. Remember when I endorsed a Tim Maya song that somebody submitted to the Strut list? And the reason I didn't put that on my list is because I have a rule. If you know the song, love the song. If you just hear it and say, oh, that's Del singing Mr. Bob Dabalina, then I won't put it on. But yeah, for me, Chris, it was my grad school song, and I was living in Oakland or Oakland-Berkeley area at the time. So Del was a local. I absolutely love this song, and thanks to whoever submitted it.
And now that I hear your explanation, I see the crack that it fell into for me, right? Which was, as a person who was listening to Tribe and De La Soul and all of that stuff, it was very similar, but it was West Coast. It was coming from someplace else. It was a little later than like 3 Feet High and Rising.
Exactly. It's like 2 years after 3 Feet High and Rising.
It's like both in time and place. It's a little out of time and place for its sound in a funny way, and it just never caught up with me, and so it was new to me.
Well, and what 3 Feet High and Rising taught everybody was that you could pull a sample from anywhere, right? I mean, what does everybody love about 3 Feet High and Rising? They sample Steely Dan, they sample Hall & Oates, they sample a French language instruction record, they sample Schoolhouse Rock. And by a similar token, this Del the Funky Homo Sapien song is like, yeah, this is really nerdy and geeky, and we're going to turn it into a total jam. So it's part of that.
Wait,
era.
Dana, what Tim Maya song did you recommend?
It's called Dulemi ao Pontao. I endorsed it last week. It's sort of like a beach party
so funny.
song.
I didn't hear you say that, and that one's on my short list. So now you can at least know you've stomped one of my songs too. It's so good.
Isn't it amazing?
I didn't know it.
We say this every year, but almost 800 songs, and we end up landing on so many of the same ones, which is not at all to say that there aren't incredible songs that we didn't choose, but it's just amazing how those
it's
hooks
so fun how songs
emerge.
I will say the other experience I had like that, I was walking around my neighborhood this week listening to one of the songs, and the song came on that had just like the most incredible beat, and I was like, now this is a Strut. Like, what is this? This is slightly familiar. And then it was She's a Bad Mama Jamma. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, let's just stipulate that that's a Strut song. That song has the title
That's an eternal.
Yeah, She's a Bad Mama Jamma. Like, she's stacked, she's something. And the way that it came up in the Spotify only had the second part of it, so it wasn't like immediately clear that it was that song to me. And I just didn't clock it at first. And I was like, okay, just I'm sorry, but that's too. Like, thank you for whoever submitted that. Correct. That is Strut. But
the title of that song, by the way, is She's a Bad Mama Jamma, parentheses, She's Built, She's Stacked, which is just one of the great R&B titles.
In case you needed an interpretation of Bad Mama Jamma.
It's kind of like the Commodore's brick house if you needed to explain it, you know? By the way, this is what we mean by a brick house.
By the way, I'm not speaking of masonry.
Right. Oh my God. And at that, Dana pours one out for herself.
Wait, this is for our producer.
Likely. Dana, you don't have to hide any longer.
You don't have to hide.
You're among
it's
friends.
Really tank. It's really okay.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Evglis.
After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Are you ready to dairy-free your mind? This summer, melt away your dairy-free expectations with So Delicious dairy-free frozen desserts. Enjoy mind-blowing flavors like salted caramel cluster, chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough, and more. For over 35 years, So Delicious has been cranking up the flavor with show-stopping products that are 100% dairy-free, certified vegan by Vegan Action, and are so unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take. Dairy-free your mind. Visit SoDeliciousDairyFree.com.
Chris, I think we've rolled around to you. What do you got?
Well, all right. In the spirit of artists we know way too well, but a song that was new to me when it appeared on this Strut list, can we play Baby It's Me by Diana Ross? Yes, that Diana Ross.
Oh, that one was incredible.
Our love's a storm, it goes on forever. The more that it rains, the better the weather. Baby, take my heart, I want you to have it. Baby, it's me, I'm the same as you. A dreamer who dreams, it's a dream come true. And all my life, all I wanted to meet someone just like you. Someone just like you.
I mean, whoever submitted this, you got the memo. Like, well done. Like, that is pure Strut from beginning to end. It's the title track from Diana Ross's 1977 album, which was a sizable hit, but it wasn't one of the singles. So it's not a hit, and I really think it could have been a hit. It kind of averages the sultry disco of Love Hangover, which came a year or two before this, with the sass of Upside Down, which came like a couple years after this. But it's this bass-forward, brassy, disco soul deep cut. It was co-written, by the way, by the veteran bassist Donald Duck Dunn, who's from Booker T and the MGs, and it's a very bassy track, and it almost sounds like it was written for the bass. And that was new to me. And I was like, who's putting this Diana Ross song on this, playlist? And then I realized I've never heard this before. And I just thought it was spectacular.
I had the exact same reaction. I mean, I have probably a lower expectation than you do about yourself that I myself have heard all Diana Ross songs ever, but I didn't know it and thought this should be legendary.
Right, and it's not. I checked all my chart books. I'm like, surely this was a hit somewhere, like on the club chart, the R&B chart. Nope. It was not even a single. So, yeah, kudos to whoever submitted "Baby It's Me" by Diana Ross.
All right, we've spun back around. Dana.
My turn again. Okay, well, I guess I will go to my first Lusophone song of the year. It's not Brazilian this time. Everybody's always trying to get me with the Brazilian music, and people sent in great stuff. But I went instead with a song by a Portuguese singer from Portugal, which I didn't know. I did know the singer's name slightly. His name is José Afonso, and he's kind of a folk, I guess you'd call him a folk singer, sort of troubadour legend in Portugal. A bit of an
icon in Portuguese history.
Yeah, and he has one song I did know because it is important in Portuguese history. It's called Grandola Vila Morena, and it's not the song on the list, but it became sort of, it's a protest song, as the song I'm going to talk about is, and it became kind of the anthem of the 1974 Portuguese Revolution. So that song, if you go to Spotify or something, has millions and millions of listens. The rest of his songs, less so, but I think in Portugal he is indeed a legend. This song came out in 1973, I think.
73.
73. Yep. It's called Venham Mais Cinco, and we'll talk a little bit about the lyric after we hear some.
A bucha é dura, mais dura é a razão que assusta. Só nesta rusga não há lugar para os filhos da mãe. Não me obriguem a vir para a rua gritar, que é já tempo de embalar a trouxa e zarpar.
mean, that is a jaunty strut. Like I'm wearing my two-tone shoes and like
I feel like it's a little hammock too, right?
Got some hammock, yeah.
But it's deceptive, right? It's deceptively boppy because it's a protest song, and it means "let 5 more come," which I love. I would love to know if you know what that means idiomatically, and I think Afonso apparently wrote it the same year he spent some time in jail as a political prisoner.
This was written right before the revolution, the year before the revolution, right? So things were definitely boiling over in Portugal at this moment, right? For those who were opposing the dictatorship.
Regime.
Yeah, it's kind of the last days of the Estado Novo regime. And this song is very obliquely political. Like the one that I mentioned, the other song I mentioned that became the anthem is more, it's really a labor song. It started off as a song in the labor movement and then kind of got adopted by the revolution. This song has a little bit more of the vibes of like, sort of the way a Caetano or Gil song in Brazil during the days of
during the Tropicalia movement. How the Tropicalia movement was beautiful, but it was also protest music.
Right, but it wasn't a direct fist-shaking kind of protest song. Right. It was sort of more a gathering of community, and that's sort of what the Venho Mais Cinco, like let 5 more people come. That's basically what he's saying. Like bring 5 more people is the first line in the title of the song. But what you're bringing them to is not exactly clear because it's also a song about lounging. Like there's a line about ordering wine and are you going to get red or white? But it's sort of about community and gathering. And I'm not going to translate all the lyric, but yeah, it's full of sort of turns of phrase that evoke being in the streets, right? In fact, there's a line that says, "Don't make me go into the street and shout." But of course, that was just about what was about to happen in the next year. And then I'm trying to figure out, and maybe whoever sent in the song or somebody who knows his music better could talk about that moment where the women's voices come in with some language that I don't understand, but it sounds almost African or Afro-Brazilian. He did spend some time in Portuguese colonial Africa. José Afonso did. He grew up and his family moved around some in Mozambique and Angola. So it's possible that he's pulling from African music there, or it's possible that it's, just a kind of nonsense lyric. I'm not sure, but I love when the women's voices come in. It brings in a whole different kind of folk feeling.
Yeah, knowing what I found out when I looked him up, that he is this protest figure from the early 70s. Yeah, immediately my brain went to the Tropicalia movement in Brazil. But that's a very different thing because that all revolved around bossa nova and samba. And this is almost folk. I mean, it's it's like a poppy, boppy folk song.
Well, he was very, very interested in folk music. Like his first album is called Fados de Coimbra. Like he was researching old fado, the kind of Portuguese song form. So it seems like he's formed by all of that stuff. But I know so much more about Brazilian music roots than I do about Portuguese ones from Europe.
Right.
So I'd love to hear some background if anybody has some.
That was wonderful. Julia, what do you have?
All right, I've got one that I'm like dying to know what you guys thought of. It just continually was so arresting when I listened to it. It's called Black Box Warning by Leanna Firestone.
I hate myself and I can't do anything if it only serves somebody else. The more of me you'll see, the less of me you'll like. The older I get, the more my teenage self-hatred is justified. I think I've tricked everybody that loves me. I wish I could come with a black box warning. I'm the start and never line the thing.
So I just think there is so much that's arresting here. The lyrics, the rhythm, the syncopation, the clarity of her voice, the way that the chorus builds. I couldn't get the song out of my head. The lyrics are so histrionic. They feel really emotionally young to me. They remind me a little bit of a Muna song that I recommended a couple years ago called Number One Fan, in which Muna was sort of putting on this like emo self-pitying youth persona, but they were clearly kind of teasing it as they did. And this one, I'm not convinced has the emotional distance. Like, I think this narrator seems to be deep in their own hot messiness. So I'm but I also think the whole thing is so musically strong that I'm dying to follow Leanna Firestone and see what she does. And I'm curious to know more about her. The lyrics are, they gave me slight mixed feelings, but I just really admire this song, and I'm curious what you guys thought of it.
I like the song a lot. I love the title, Black Box Warning. I mean, that the metaphor there, it's basically the most serious warning they put on a prescription box, like this may kill you. And that lyric, the more of me you'll see, the less of me you'll like. I wish I could come with a black box warning. I mean, that's such a say what you want. She may be young, but that's a very vivid image. She's from Nashville. I don't know a ton about her. She seems to me to be very post Taylor Swift, but first wave Taylor in the sense that, like, you know, it's lyrics forward and, you know, you're meant to key into the lyrics as much as the music, but the music is also really interesting. She also reminds me a little bit of Zach Bryan, if you know anything about Zach Bryan, who's been this phenomenon in the last 5 years, where he's this uncategorizable guy who comes out of country music but is not of country music. And similarly, she's based in Nashville but is not of Nashville per se. And I could see she apparently has gone massively viral and has millions of global streams, but her stuff is country adjacent, and it's kind of hard to pigeonhole, which I admire.
What'd you like about this one, Dana?
I mean, similar to you, I think it seems like it echoed the lyrical world of Messy, the Lola Young song. But it went so much further down the kind of like road of self-destruction. Ultimately, I didn't put it on my list because it made me feel almost bad for her when I would listen to it. It's such an anthem of, you know, low self-esteem, which you're right is an emotion of the young. I hope more that people grow out of feeling as bad as this singer does, but also kind of a feat of songwriting to turn that into a bop.
Okay, so I love this song. I don't know what the French translates to, and I know nothing about her. So I'm throwing myself on the mercy of the knowledge of the panel. It's 7 heures de mat by Jacqueline Taïb. I'm probably mispronouncing her last name, Taïeb.
Il est 7 heures du matin, faut se réveiller. Oh, j'ai sommeil. Bon alors, un peu de musique pour se mettre en train. Je sais pas moi, quelque chose comme Talking about my generation. Ouais, c'est pas tout à fait ça. Je trouve plus ma brosse à dents.
So here's what I know about this song, other than nothing, is this person you might call it strutting down the street, but they are like a fucking, you know, phalanx in their stride, like member of a phalanx. There's something tough and directed and, like, you know, parting the waves of people on the street in Paris. But other than that, I don't know anything about her or what the lyrics mean.
All right. First of all, do you know what the Yeah Yeah movement of Yeah Yeah girl movement of the 60s was?
I don't.
Okay, so yeah, I'm pronouncing that poorly. It's YE-YE. Probably the most famous song from the movement was François Hardy's Tous les garçons et les filles.
That I know.
Yeah. So it was kind of a movement. It was rock adjacent, mostly French music that was, you know, kind of counterculture centered around female pop that had rock bones and you know, worshipped at the altar of rock, but was kind of kitschy at the same time. And you played the part where she invokes My Generation by The Who. I looked up the translation of the lyrics. Basically, this is the story of a bored teenage girl. And by the way, Taïb was only 18 when she recorded it.
Oh, no kidding.
It's about a bored teenage girl who decides she doesn't want to go to school that day, and she wants to stay home and fantasize about her favorite rock stars. Not only does she invoke My Generation, she mentions Paul McCartney in the middle of the lyrics. This was her biggest French hit. It was like a top 10 hit in France in like 1967. She won some Best Newcomer award in Cannes at the first MIDEM Awards. MIDEM is like an industry conference. So like there was kind of like some heat around Jacqueline Taïb at the time. And yeah, it's just, I love that it's a rock worshiping song that rocks itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's very meta.
Chris, what do you have?
Can we play That Feels Good by Jessie Ware?
Everybody gets a little modest and shy sometimes. Just remember, pleasure is a right. Again and again and again. Woo, that feels good. Do it again. Do it again. That feels good. Do it again. Do it again.
I love the backstory of Jessie Ware as much as I love her music. She's been recording for, I want to say like a dozen or more years. British indie soul turned dance diva. Like the first half of her career was already quite compelling. She recorded very, pleasant, smart, sultry kind of soul pop, and she has such a lovely voice. But then in 2020, and by the way, this accidentally coincided with the pandemic, right at that moment when we were all trapped at home, she dropped an album in, I think it was like June of 2020, called What's Your Pleasure, where she converted herself into kind of a disco diva. And all of the music was disco. That album, by the way, What's Your Pleasure, was one of my favorites of that year. I would compare it to what Dua Lipa was doing in 2020, where, the Dua Lipa album was like a dance club album for people trapped at home. What's Your Pleasure was a similar thing. And this is the title track from her 2023 follow-up album, simply called That! Feels Good! And Jessie Ware herself is an interesting figure. She's a singer, an author. She's a podcaster. She and her mom did a podcast for years called Table Manners, which is a hoot to listen to. So, if we've ever wondered as podcasters what it would be like if a podcaster ever became a singer, I guess we can all aspire to be Jessie Ware. But
Nope.
I just think that song's a jam.
Nope.
right.
Nobody wants that.
We can't.
I don't aspire to that. I know my limits.
Yeah, no, me neither. But
Love Jessie
boy
Ware,
can
though,
dream.
and love that record. We have one more round to go, but before we do that, Dana, why don't we talk business?
Well, as always happens the week that we record Summer Strut, we have more songs to talk about than we can fit in the main show. And so what we're doing with Slate Plus this week is just having some overflow songs. So if you're a Slate Plus member, you'll hear that in a separate segment on your feed. If you're not a Slate Plus member, please think about becoming one. You can sign up at slate.com/cultureplus. When you do, you get ad-free podcasts, you get bonus segments like the one I just described, and you get unlimited access to the writing and the podcasting on slate.com. These memberships are really a big part of what keeps this podcast going. So please, if you can, sign up today at slate.com/cultureplus. Once again, that's slate.com/cultureplus.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
Okay, final round. Dana, what do you have?
I'm so torn what to do for my final round. Please, everyone sign up for Slate Plus so you can also hear the songs I'm talking about. That is your reason to sign up this week, because I really like all the songs that I want to talk about. But I think I'm going to just choose one that has a contrasty vibe to Chris's last pick, since you had such a sort of, I don't know, just a sexy dance floor song. So I'm going to go really sweet and earnest and a classic pop construction song, a little bit like the role model song we started off with. Just something that's a classic hook, which I didn't realize until it was already well ensconced in my head is not by the person who's singing it. It's a cover. It's Sweet as the Night by Juliana Hatfield.
Is it an ELO? Okay.
So, Chris, I'm going to throw to you because to me, Juliana Hatfield, well, I know she's had a long indie kind of solo career since she was in Blake Babies and Lemonheads and all the kind of, 90s groups that she was a part of. I did not know that she had this run of doing cover albums from which this song comes. So talk about the cover era of Juliana Hatfield.
Yeah, so since 2018, Juliana Hatfield, who, yes, as you point out, in the 90s was famed for the Blake Babies, the Lemonheads, the Juliana Hatfield 3, if you remember her big hit, My Sister, So since 2018, Juliana Hatfield has released a series of Juliana Hatfield Sings. That's literally in the title. LPs. The first one was dedicated to the songs of Olivia Newton-John. The second one was dedicated to the songs of The Police. And this latest one from 2023 is the songs of Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO. So Sweet as the Night is a deep cut from their I think it's 1977 album Out of the Blue, which is probably their biggest seller. If it's among their biggest sellers, that's the one that gave us Turn to Stone and Mr. Blue Sky. So some massive, massive ELO hits are on that album. This, of course, the group run by Jeff Lynne. And if you listen to the ELO original, it was kind of orchestral prog pop, which is what Jeff Lynne did. He sort of did this Beatlesque disco era pop that had lots of heavy strings. Hatfield's cover is very faithful, but it's more like chiming indie rock. And that's what's fun about her series, is that she kind of brings the Juliana Hatfield touch to these, songs by folks she remembers from her childhood.
Yeah, to me, this song, it snuck its way onto my list. It was sort of like, when I would listen my way through the long list, it would seem like it was sort of modest and unassuming. I didn't know about this history that it was an ELO cover. And then I just started to realize that it was so beautifully constructed and so solid that I couldn't get it out of my head. And she really brings the sweetness of the song out. But yeah, to realize that it's written by the guy who wrote Mr. Blue Sky or Live
Can't
and
Get
Thing.
It Out of My Head,
right.
No pun intended.
Like songs that were on the AM radio before I even knew, what a rock band was. So yeah, hats off to Jeff Lynne for writing such a timeless banger.
Julia, what do you got?
All right. My last for the main show is, and it's appropriate in the week of Naked Gun's release, a song called Pamela Anderson by Rigoberta Bandini.
Wait, was that theremin coming in at the end?
This song goes so many places, and I just love I feel like for me, although this song is by, I believe, a Spanish artist, it fills the Italian pop slot on my list. Like I always have an Italian pop slot, and there are a couple of Italian pop songs in my short list too. But and I just love that the Pamela Anderson renaissance that we're in the middle of appreciating her approach to middle-aged stardom and her kind of rejection of classic beauty rituals, and by all accounts, although I have not seen it yet, her delightful performance in this new Naked Gun that people seem to be liking. Anyway, I love that beyond being like part of the modern American internet, somehow there's also an ode to Pamela Anderson that turns her name into like a rhythm instrument. Ba, 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 Pamela. Anyway, what the hell is this, Chris?
This is going to sound glib, and I mean this quite seriously. It's kind of a Candle in the Wind, but for a still living sex symbol. So what Candle in the Wind was to Marilyn Monroe, it's an homage to Pamela Anderson, but while she's still alive and getting her flowers. And part of what inspired Paula Ribó, who, by the way, is this interesting figure in Spain. She's a singer, a songwriter, an actress, and a playwright. She kind of does a little of everything, and she's got a bit of a comic streak.
Clearly.
Music is just clearly. Music is just one of the things she does. But quite seriously, if you look at the translation of the lyrics, she's singing, Pamela Anderson, I love you so much. I saw your documentary yesterday. That's the clickbait I'll use. They made you feel small. This is the part of the lyric that reminds me of Marilyn Monroe. They made you feel small, and we didn't know who you were beyond your beauty. So it's the same idea as Candle in the Wind. Like we reduced you to this, glib sex symbol, but you were so much more than that. And there was a documentary. I'm looking at you, Dana. I don't know if you actually watched this documentary or you guys reviewed it, maybe not. But Pamela Anderson apparently had a documentary in 2023 about her crazy life and her history with Tommy Lee and her history on Baywatch. And apparently that documentary, Pamela, A Love Story, was what inspired Paula Ribó, who, by the way, records as Rigoberta Bandini, to record this quite earnest but still very silly song called Pamela Anderson.
I didn't know that, Doc. We did talk about the Pam and Tommy TV show, but
well, then subsequently there was a book and a doc in which she described her, among other things, her frustration at having her story sold not by her in the form of the scripted show, which she did not like. And so then she told her own story in multiple formats and then was homaged in this fashion, which I find delightful, up to and including the theremin, which is really where the song takes a bizarre turn. But
when I think Pamela Anderson, I think theremin.
Naturally.
That's awesome. Okay, my final cut is just there's a total weird serendipity at work here in that I'm attempting to write a nonfiction book that is very autobiographical, in which this song plays a big role. And I had only just finished that part of it and was talking about the song and like when I heard it back in the day and what it meant and on. And there it was on the list. I had to include it for that, but additionally, it earns its way on here completely. It's such a strut. It is, and also I have questions because I did not know Donald Byrd made music like this. This is called Dominoes.
Oh, pretty baby, dry your eyes, don't you know it can't be that bad? How it hurts me, pretty baby, when I see you sitting there so sad. Don't need to worry about tomorrow, and yesterday is gone. So raise the chin up, girl, and we will work our problems out one by one. Hold me tight, don't let go. Turn me loose, never no, no, no. We'll stand our problems all in a row. Watch them fall like dominoes. Falling like dominoes.
I mean, this song is such a period piece. You could probably guess practically the month when it came out.
Right.
The confusing part of it to me is that Donald Byrd is a classic. He survived well into the 70s and beyond. But he was, he's like a kind of a late bop, modal jazz trumpet player,
right?
And I just didn't know that he'd made a kind of almost like Earth, Wind and Fire record collab called what's it called?
Places and Spaces.
Yeah, in the 70s. And I couldn't track down the song, right? For that reason, I was like, who fucking did that song? So it all kind of came together.
I mean, what era this is? The album's from 1975, and this is the era where jazz guys who blended in vocals could really score chart hits, like on the R&B and sometimes even the pop charts. This is the period where, for example, Herbie Hancock was doing Headhunters, for example, I think that's 73, 74. This is the period when Quincy Jones was alternating his production work with these very jazzy albums that would chart on both the R&B and the pop charts with all these great players. And here you've got, Donald Byrd, who's a legend of the trumpet and the flugelhorn. I can't tell if that's him singing, but this song was something of a hit. The album did well on the charts. It kind of mixes that blaxploitation era light funk with more of the string-laden conscious soul of a Marvin Gaye or a Stevie Wonder. And it's... I looked up one review that said the music falls halfway between cinematic neo-funk and the proto-disco soul of Earth, Wind and Fire.
That's it.
That's exactly what it is.
Chris.
I'm up.
You're up.
If I'm closing it out, can I just do something sort of dumbly obvious? This is the Cheers of this list in the sense that oh, duh, this song is awesome. I'd just like to thank whoever put on the Strut list The Rubber Band Man by the Spinners. Yes, that Rubber Band Man.
Hard to miss with it.
Hey, I laughed so hard 'cause the man got down when it finally reached his low. Hey, y'all, prepare yourself for the rubber band. Whoa, you never heard a sound like the rubber band. Man, you're bound to lose control when the rubber band starts to jam. Got that rubber band up on his toe.
mean, yet again, somebody got the memo. This is like pure strut from beginning to end. It's a peak Philly soul classic. This song reached number 2 on the Hot 100 in 1976. I think it got stuck behind a Rod Stewart song, so that's just a crime. 2 years ago, I went to my first Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony when it was at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, and the Spinners were getting inducted, and very few of the Spinners were still alive, so they weren't available to perform, and they got New Edition, the classic 80s boy band, to perform this song in homage to the Spinners, and it was possibly the most joyous moment of the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, because that groove, there's something about that chorus. It's all tension. If you actually play it, it's kind of like it doesn't resolve until they get to the very last line of the chorus starts to jam. Otherwise, it's like you're compelled to get on the dance floor or, tap your foot or strut to it, because it's all this tension building up. And that's amazing. And I guess the last thing I want to mention is I vaguely, having been 4 or 5 years old when this song was a hit, remember it from my childhood. But what I really remember was that in 1980, Linda Carter was the guest host on The Muppet Show. She performed The Rubber Band Man with an actual rubber band of Jim Henson Muppets. So, shout out to Linda Carter for that.
I just want to stipulate for listeners our moral inconsistency of chiding whoever put Bad Mama Jamma on and then picking Rubber Band Man.
Picking the Rubber Band Man. I know, I'm cheating. I totally am.
Well, I mean, secretly, I thank all the people who sent in classic soul R&B songs that I already know, because I just put them on my midway through pick list, and now they're my actual summer soundtrack. But it would have just been cowardly to pick nothing but those songs.
Yeah, no, it's great. So just for whoever submitted Bad Mama Jamma, stipulated it could have been reversed.
All right, well, I think that does it for the main show. But if you're a Plus subscriber, you're going to get at least 1 or 2 more per panelist. But anyway, Chris, thanks for coming in. Just one of the funnest shows of the year by far.
It's a blast for me as well. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Dana.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Julia.
Thank you.
You'll find links to some of the things we talked about today. Well, you'll find links to all of the things we talked about today at our show page. That's slate.com/culturefest. And you can email us at culturefest@slate.com. Our introductory music is by the composer Nicholas Britell,
who you could find on the Strut long list this year, the Niamos Chandralan Club Mix, which is a season 2 remix of the song that Nick wrote for a clubbish scene in the first season of Andor, the Star Wars show that I adore and that we've talked about a couple times on this show. Made it onto the mix. It's the soundtrack to a kind of rhapsodic, despondent end times dance scene in season 2. By Mon Mothma, and it's a pretty good song.
Our production assistant is Daniel Hirsch. Our producer is Benjamin Frisch. For Dana, Julia, and Chris Malamphy, I'm Stephen Metcalf. Thank you so much for joining us.
And for sending in the songs.
Yeoman's effort. We'll see you soon.